Okay, we're live. Good evening. Good evening. Please come in. And as you come into this space, into MomVersations, please say hello and say where you are logging in from. I'm so excited. We are in season 3 of MomVersations. And I mean, if you have not been here to hear all of the moms who I have had the privilege of hosting and interviewing, please, I'll put the link below. You can go back and see really the amazing stories as I have learned, along with hopefully you as you've listened along, learn the amazing things that they've accomplished and the ways they take care of their family, their loved ones, and themselves. So today, I am excited to introduce you to, and me for myself. Let me tell you how I met this woman. First of all, most of you know her. You've seen her on different television shows and on Broadway plays, but I got the privilege of being introduced to her backstage, if you will. I got the privilege of being introduced to her. One of my vocal students was just like, "You should meet Angela." And I'm like, "Okay, who's Angela?" And then we started talking. And I mean, I feel like we're fast friends. So it's been fun to just sit and chat with her and now be able to see her face to face as I get to interview her. So come on in. Please say hello when you're getting into the chat. And I'm going to get started. So for those who are tuning in for the first time, you are tuning into the weekly conversation or MomVersations. Welcome. You might be asking, what in the world is MomVersations? MomVersations, first of all, I always forget. I am your host, Aretha Scruggs. And MomVersations is a conversation, simply a conversation between moms about the very lived reality of passionately loving and raising the next generation of kids and world changers, while also constantly learning to live into our own purpose and the love of our craft. MomVersations is a show where we hear real life stories of incredible moms making waves in our world, from entertainers to entrepreneurs and more. Thank you so much tonight for tuning in to our live conversation, MomVersations, where we learn how to live and thrive in motherhood and purpose. Welcome. Welcome. For those who don't know, we do have weekly live conversations, but we also have a podcast now. So you can also look up MomVersations on the podcast. Without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to my new friend and hopefully yours. Let me tell you a little bit about my guest today, Angela Robinson. Angela Robinson is an actress. She's known for her precise, controlled performances and award-winning performances in television and theater. You know her most likely from her own or Tyler Perry series starring role in The Have and Have-Nots, where she stars as Veronica Harrington. She continues to capture the heart of America, making a tremendous impression for now 7 seasons on the show. She's dubbed the Ice Queen of primetime television. Angela has been praised by critics and fans alike. Angela is an established theater actress, having made a name for herself on and off Broadway and on stages throughout the U.S. and abroad. She starred as Shook Avery in The Color Purple at the Broadway Theater with Shaka Khan as Sophia and Fantasia as Celie. She's also starred in the Broadway revival of Wonderful Town at Al Hirschfeld Theater, Bells Are Ringing at the Plymouth Theater, and Play On at the Brooks Adkins Theater. She's also done national tours of The Wizard of Oz with Eartha Kitt and Dream Girls. She's also appeared in numerous national and regional commercials and on hit television shows like Law and Order, SVU, and films like Another Bed. In addition to her entertainment work, though, Angela has a great passion for the arts and extends herself to help others realize their artistic potential. Alongside her husband, Scott Whitehurst, they run Wit Robin Group, where they combine their industry expertise to provide training, inspiration, and direction via acting workshops, private acting coaching, blogs, and mentorship programs to both emerging and established actors. Angela is also a wonderful mother to a 3-year-old named Robbie, an adoptive son, and she'll tell us all about that today. Please welcome, put your hands together for my guest, Angela Robinson.
Hi. Hello.
Hello. Welcome. So Mom
Thank you.
Conversations.
I'm so happy to be here.
Yay! Thank you for coming on. It's been such a pleasure to just chat with you, but now I get to see you face to face. Hello.
I know we've been messaging,
We were
messaging. It's been so much fun.
yes. So
Yeah.
tell me in the audience, tell me a little bit about yourself. Where are you from and how did you get into acting?
Well, I'm from Jacksonville, Florida. I'm a Southern girl, and I got into acting. Well, my mother was an high school English teacher who was over the drama department. And she was also always she did all the church plays. So I was always around drama and
Mhm.
specifically musicals. So I fell in love with theater, musical theater at the age of 10. I had
Mm.
no idea that I could make a living at it, but I always knew that it was something that I wanted to do. So the idea of making a living at it came a little later.
Nice. So
Yeah.
you do so all through high school, college, you did theater and everything?
Mhm. Well, high school was more band, but it was still performing, and I did pageants and singing and dancing and all that stuff, and went to college. My parents forbade me to major in theater, so I couldn't major
I
in it.
get
They
that.
said you could do as many plays as you want, you could do as many, but you got to get a degree in something else.
Yes.
So I did that, but I got my degree in sociology, but I was in uh, plays and musicals and all sorts of performing. That's dance groups. That's all I really ever wanted to do. Um,
Wow.
yeah,
And you get to live your dream. How exciting.
I do. I have lived my dream for over 20 years. Um,
Wow.
I know it's because my television show has been on about 8 years. A lot of times people think that that was like
That's your first
the
thing.
first thing, but I've been living my dream for quite some time, and
I love it.
it's been a great ride.
I love it. Was it theater or TV first for you?
It was theater.
Okay.
Yeah. My first professional show was in my hometown. It was Ain't Misbehavin', and yeah, the director, the owner of the theater at home took a chance on this little girl that wanted to do musical theater, and the rest is history. Moved to New York some years later, and
Wow.
scared, but had a dream of being on Broadway, and God blessed me with that dream coming true several times. So
I love it. What was your first Broadway debut?
my Broadway debut was in 1997.
All right.
So a long, long time ago. I had just gotten married, and but it was called Play On.
Okay.
I understudied three lead characters, and I had to learn all of their roles.
Woo.
And it was frightening. I actually went on several times. It was frightening and amazing all at
Mm.
the same time. And I got the pleasure of the two leading men in that particular musical have both passed away.
Hmm.
And so I got the pleasure of working with two of the best, and I appreciate and so grateful for that opportunity.
Wow. What would you say to those who are listening who that is their dream? Their dream is to be on Broadway. How did you overcome? I mean, that's so many people's dream, but you made it. How did you overcome those obstacles?
Yeah, grace, right? I mean,
Right.
that's like that's like the first thing that comes to mind,
Yeah.
for sure. Um, I was pretty determined, but also I worked really hard, and the gentleman that hired me at my first professional show in Jacksonville really sort of kept hiring me, and
Love
he
it.
gave me a lot of training since I didn't major in theaters because my parents didn't want me to. So
Yeah.
he really gave me my training, and then I got in my car and I drove to regional theaters throughout the country and auditioned for them and say, "Will you hire
Wow.
me? I just want to." So I I wanted to come to New York with a resume. I didn't want to just come. So I did that, and then I um, moved to New York and really worked hard at I had like an audition book and everything. But in the end, I know people who live in the city for 10, 15 years
Yes.
to get their Broadway debut. In the end, it's really whatever the timing is right for you at the time. And that particular show was right. I grew up listening to 40s swing music, and that's what that show was. So it just sort of fit right
Yeah.
into my wheelhouse, and I was able to do it. I was a wreck every night going, am I going to have to go on? Oh my God. but, but I was young enough to understudy the young person and old enough to understudy the older person. And thank God it really was training ground for me. So my advice to anybody who wants to be on Broadway is to work hard and to really treat it like a job before you get the job.
Mm,
You have to spend most of your days learning and studying and reading plays and studying musicals and getting your audition book together.
yeah.
So it's a job, within itself, but it's so worth it because in the end, if you're purpose driven, then you know that you're supposed to be there. You're not just trying to be a celebrity or get a job, but actually you're trying to follow your purpose to see what direction you're supposed to be in to be the greatest blessing.
Come on, say that again. You're not just supposed to be there, ladies and gentlemen. How are you being the blessing in the place that you're being put?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, that goes into my question at the top that I usually ask my guests. What do you think is your why? What is your purpose?
Hmm. Well, I think that my gift is encouragement.
Yeah.
Uh, and I think because of a little bit of resistance that I had in the beginning when I talked about being an actor and being on Broadway. I think because I had that little bit of resistance, I'm very cognizant of encouraging people, of,
Yeah.
of being a cheerleader to people.
Yeah.
Because in the end, you want people to be confident in their pursuit of their purpose.
Yeah.
And so a lot of criticism sometimes can stall you for a while because you got to try to find your way through that criticism back to confidence. So I try to be that voice that's like, come on, you can do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. So I think that that's a purpose that God's given me. And
Yeah.
I think that more specifically, it is to artists. I encourage everyone. I think that it's important, but specifically to artists because
Mm,
it's not an easy road, but I
yeah.
do believe it's a high calling. I do believe that when you choose to create for a living, that it is a high calling and a great responsibility. And so I feel purposed to encourage, uplift, and inspire artists.
Come another thing. Oh, it is a higher calling. Yes, I
Mhm.
tell even in me, I tell my students in music, this is not just for the faint of heart. This is
Mm-mm,
for people who
mm-mm.
are serious. You have to know deep in your gut, this is my calling. This is what I've been called to do and what I've been purposed to do.
That's
So,
right.
yes, to all you artists who are out there listening, you are walking in your higher calling. Go
Mhm,
forth. And
mhm.
I want to take a pause and say hello to those who are listening. Hello, Willie. Hello, Harvey Morris. Hello, those. If you have any questions, feel free to put the questions in the chat that you want me to ask Angela.
Ooh.
But yes, we'll see what they ask. But this is the part that makes MomVersations so unique. Please tell me about your family.
Well, my family is pretty amazing. You mean the family that I grew up in or my family now?
Let's do both. Tell me about the family that you grew up in and how does that influence the family that you have now?
Oh, wow. Well, I grew up in Jacksonville, Florida. I have a brother and a sister, but I grew up as an only child because I'm my mom's only child.
Okay.
And And so my mom and dad got married and had me. And so I was kind of alone a lot.
Mm.
And my brother and sister are older than I am. We're very close, but in terms of growing up, I
Yeah.
was alone a lot. So I did a lot of imagining and daydreaming about life.
Yeah.
My parents were extremely hands-on, extremely protective, loving, amazing. They were older parents for their day,
Mm.
not for today, but
For
today
that
we be
day.
gone, you
Right.
know,
This
but
day.
for their day, they
Yeah.
were. And
Mm.
so they had pretty much settled down and really took parenting very seriously. My father was very involved in the community and civil rights, and my mother was an
Wow.
English teacher. So they took me to the theater, and it brought me to New York early on. That's why I don't know why they were so shocked when I went on Broadway, but they brought me to New York when I was little and exposed me to the theater there. My father died in 2010. Uh,
Hmm.
he lived to
Right.
see me do The Color Purple on Broadway.
I love it.
Yeah, he took the train all the way to New York to see me.
I
Um,
love it.
he never missed a performance of anything that
Love
I did.
it.
So, a great, great, great man he was. And my mother lives with me now.
Hmm. Yeah.
My mother's been with me since my dad died, and
Mm.
um, and she has dementia, but
Mm.
yeah, I always say about my mom that my mom would always light up when I walked into the room. It didn't matter.
Mm.
It didn't matter what her day was like. It didn't. She always lit up. That's the gift that I try to always give my son. I
Yes.
don't win at it all the
Yeah.
time, but I try to give him that because my mom would always light up. And in the position that she's in now, uh, not being able to remember much, not being able to do much on her own, she still lights up when she sees me.
Oh, that's
It's just
beautiful.
such a beautiful gift that
Yeah.
we have that connection. And she too lived to see me do the haves and the have-nots. And before she got worse, she would stay up and watch. She would watch from 7 p.m. to the last episode at midnight on
Woo!
Tuesday night. And she would talk to me like I was that character. She's like, "Girl, now you go back and you tell that other girl that you are going to forgive your son." And you, I'm like, "Mama, it's not real. I'm not that character." So yeah,
Is that a little cup? I love it. I
yeah, she's
love
great. She's my example of a true mom that I try to live up to every day.
Yes. So tell us about Robbie. I know you have a 3-year-old. You and
Yes.
your husband have a 3-year-old. Tell us about Robbie.
Robbie is a three-nager.
I get it. I got a 4-nager.
Woo, Lord. And he is more than I could have dreamed. He really is. He brightens every day, and I pray that I brighten his, but
Mhm.
he definitely brightens mine. And I think because he was such a prayer for so long, and he wasn't easy to come by.
Mm.
Being a mom wasn't easy for me.
Mm.
So I cherish every moment that I have
Mm.
with him, even his three major moments. Uh, but I tell you, he's just perfect for us. We laugh all the time because my son is adopted. We go like, "Oh my God, that's your daddy." I mean, he does things just like my father. He's
Wow.
God just does that, you know. He knows. And
Yeah.
if we can just trust him, then we'll
Ooh.
have an easier journey going through the weight of our dreams coming true if we could just trust him. So Robbie is a dream come true for us, And we are enjoying so much being his parents.
I love it. A dream. I mean, we have I have these Selah moments. If you trust him, learn to trust God through your dreams. There'll be those moments where you look back and go, hey, this is actually my dream.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
learning to trust him is the difficult part in the waiting.
And the weight.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, my husband and I
Yes.
waited 20 years. We tried for 20 years. So,
Ready.
um, it, it was quite a long wait, but, oh my God, the day that we held him, it was like it made sense.
I,
All of it made sense in that one moment.
I love it.
Mhm.
What do you love most about being a mother?
The mirror. Um, I I feel like every encounter with him is a mirror that I'm holding up a mirror to myself.
Yes.
Am I who I say I am? Am I as
Yes.
patient as I think I am? Am
Yeah.
I as giving and loving and thoughtful as I claim I am?
Yeah.
And most times I'm not. So I think the mirror, being a mom helps me to be a better person. I think in general, being in relationship, that's why we can't be islands. That's why we have to be in relationship with other people, because being in relationship is a mirror for us.
Yeah.
And that's how we sort of grow as human beings. But definitely, I love that. I feel like I'm growing leaps and bounds as a person since I've been a mom. And that's not saying much because I fail daily.
Yeah.
But
We
but
all do. I get it.
yeah, but it's still, I'm recognizing my failures and
Right.
trying to do it better the next day.
Yeah. So in the 20-year wait, where were you? How was the process of even becoming a mother with your career? How did you learn? You're 3 years in. How have you learned to balance being a mother, the joys of it, but also the balancing of it all?
Well, I in these 3 years I've been ultra fortunate in that I have had a job that, it's as an artist, as you well know, a lot of times the most difficult and unstable times is in the hustle.
Yep.
And, you know, and so when you got to hustle, yeah, I got to go do this gig and I got to figure out who's going to keep my baby because I got,
Yes.
and fortunately for the past 3 years, I haven't had to do that. And so when I go to work, I've been able to take my baby, and that has just, been a joy. I have I had before COVID a really, really full speaking schedule. So I would go around the country and speak at churches and people's events, and
Wow.
almost every week I was on a flight somewhere. But I never went without my baby. I think we laughed because we were like, he's been to 20 states and he wasn't even two. So
Wow.
so we went everywhere. My husband is a professor, and so he was off on the weekends. He's also an actor. So he was off on the weekends, and that was the deal. You want me, you gotta get all three of us.
I love it.
Mhm.
Yes. The whole family went.
Yeah, we went. I did the national tour of The Color Purple, and this was before Robbie.
Yeah.
But I drove the whole tour. So the second year I did, the first year I didn't, but the second year I did. And so my husband would always come on the road with me, and we drive from one city to the next when he was off. So we are kind of used to, traveling together. and
Yes.
and so yeah, we love it. We love seeing the country, seeing the world um
Yes.
together, and exposing him to those things. So yeah, it's been that part. The balancing has been harder in the year that I've been home.
Hmm. Right. Because we're all home.
That
Everybody's
that
home.
that's been challenging, trying to figure out, oh, when do I take a breather? When
Yeah.
do I, how do I, care for myself in this moment? So that part has been a challenge. How does my husband and I, you want to get some work done, I want to get some
Yes.
work done? How do we juggle it all? Um, so, that's
Awesome.
been when do we go to the park? How do
Right.
we take him outside to play and keep him safe from COVID and all that stuff. So um
Right.
yeah, that has been this year at home has been more challenging with regard to balancing. But
Right.
at the same time, which I know you will probably agree with me, it's been also like the best year to have
Yeah.
that time.
Yeah. Because it's just all you time. All you and you, husband and Lua. Oh, we all in one space. Well, let's find the joy here.
Come on. Come on.
Let's
Let's
find good times. Adventures indoors.
mm-hmm. Let's come on. Yes. Because
Yes.
he had his 2-year-old and his 3 birthday
Oh, yeah.
inside. And and because my mom it lives with us and she's not well, we really couldn't
Oh,
have a
yeah.
whole lot of people in.
Oh, yeah.
So we didn't have anybody in. So
Nope.
but we got so creative. It was so great finding creative ways to celebrate
Yeah.
milestone moments and to celebrate birthdays and anniversaries and transforming our backyard and just it's actually been a very creative year and
Yes.
yeah, we've enjoyed it.
I mean, we've had discussions behind the scenes of what we as artists have had to do pivoting, all the skills we've had to learn. For those who don't know, she has her own podcast, well, live conversation
Hmm.
called Arts and Spirit, where she
Hmm.
talks with artists about their spiritual life. And she will tell us a little bit more about your conversation and the way
Yeah.
you've had to pivot.
Right. Well, you know what? I think probably just like you, I was well, what happened to me was somewhere around this time last year, 2 of my very dear friends got COVID, and
Mm,
they were very, very award-winning actors in the theater, and everybody wanted to know how they were doing. We were all
yeah.
like, "Well, was he? Oh, he's in the hospital. Oh my God." Actually 3 of my friends. And so I decided to go live. I asked them if they would go live with me so that, our friends could see them and
Mm,
hear about their story. And I mean, one of our friends actually almost died. So,
mm,
we wanted to share his story. And then George Floyd happened.
yeah.
And so then I was like, well, I got to go live with, some black men and we got to talk about this and we got to figure this out. And I don't, Aretha, it never stopped.
Yeah. Like, oh, another one.
That wasn't the goal,
Right.
but it never stopped. And so then we started Black Woke Business Spotlight, where we added a black business to Spotlight.
Yes.
And so it just never stopped. So, God will, even in your wait or your pause, he will still fulfill his purpose and he will
Yeah.
still use your creativity to be a blessing in whatever season it is.
Yes, he will. You just got to be willing to pivot. Well, oh, where are
You
we going?
gotta be, you gotta be willing to pivot.
Yeah.
I think that has really been, uh, I always say, I think that's been the source of if 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 there's been a whole lot of frustration in isolation, and isolation is difficult.
Yes.
Um, but if there's been a whole lot of I gotta go, I gotta get out, I gotta get out. I think it was because of a lack of willingness to pivot.
Oh,
Because if we are willing to say this isn't the way it used to be,
right.
what can I do in this moment right now
Yeah.
to make myself be content?
Yeah.
And that may require a pivot. Like maybe I can't do it the way I always did it, but how can I be creative
Yeah.
and still be content? And it's a tough adjustment to make, but
Yes.
it's so fulfilling when you're able, when you finally, because everybody's able, but when you finally make that choice to go, okay, I'm gonna pivot, you
Right.
know, I'm not gonna be traveling. Let me get that out of my head. Cause that was
Right.
me. I was like, okay, I had an event this week. Oh, I went, and let me get that out of my head. Now,
Right.
how can I pivot and do something different? And so, once you pivot, it's so fulfilling. Then I started getting virtual invitations to speak.
Hmm.
So once you decide it's different, now God, what do I do with the different? What do I do with the new?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Oof. Not to, for those artists who are listening, not to in any way lessen, some are financially having problems, and there's, mental health issues and so many things that as artists we deal with that I think is different than the other populations, because it's like our whole lives we've been on a stage, or our whole lives we've been, getting applause or being approved. Really, I feel like for me, that whole like, where's your approval coming from? Now there's no there's no audience,
Yeah.
there's no auditions, there's no. So now, okay, that being content with self, that content being with all kind of things goes a long way. So you
Hmm.
talking, you speaking, you speaking.
You're so right. I mean,
Yeah,
where are the applause?
yeah,
Yeah. I
yeah.
mean, we've all had to go in a new lane, huh?
Right. A whole new lane. But I think
Scary.
it'll make us stronger coming out of this thing. Stronger
Yeah.
and more skills.
Yes, Miss Podcast. Yes. Come
New
on,
skills and
conversation.
abilities. You're like, oh, look what I can do now, huh?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
if we're willing to pivot, right? If
If
we're
we're
willing
willing. Yeah.
to try this,
Yeah.
try something new. Yeah. So, but you
Yeah.
know what? I don't know about you, but I could probably guess just out of our few conversations. Everything that I'm doing, I had in my heart to do before, but I just didn't have the time.
That's what MomVersations is. It was in my mind for at least a year going, you should do this. You should do this. Oh, yeah.
Hmm.
And now you're like, oh, I have time. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Let me
yeah.
do it
Let's do
then.
it.
Very true. Very
Hmm.
true. It's like the
Hmm.
stuff settles. It's like, okay, in the pandemic, everything settled. And it's like, oh, well, now this is here. It's now I can really see it. Now I have time to do it. Yeah,
Hmm.
it's pretty crazy. Well, I
Yeah.
know people are on here. I'm saying hello again, Harvey. Hello, Deanna. Hello, Lisa Tunstone, Eric Chin. I know people are excited to hear about the have and have nots, because I know there's some great people who love you on the show. How in the world did you get this, the Ice Queen? How'd you become dubbed the Ice Queen? Was that a part of your whole journey up to this point, or is it just with this character on the have and have nots?
Yeah, it's just with this character.
Okay.
On the network one season. I mean, she's definitely an ice queen, but one season they just said it. The ice queen is back, and it just caught on. And so now everybody says it, but OWN started it in a promo. Um, and I think because um, nothing affects her.
Hmm.
Nothing. She doesn't let anything break her.
Yeah.
She has throughout the 8 seasons a few times, but it's rare. Um, yeah, it's been so much fun. I'm I'm sad to this is our last season. It starts,
Oh,
I think, June 1st. We've
okay.
done 8 seasons,
Mhm.
and so this is our last season, and it's sad because of just we've just had so much fun, and the fans are the best fans in the whole world. There's nothing like soap fans anyway. I mean, because the characters are so real.
Yeah.
Um, so it's that part is sad, but then it's exciting that who gets 8 seasons usually. It's
Yeah.
that's huge, and we're leaving it still number one on the
Wow.
network, which is great, and you know, great things are in store. So we just, we're excited about what's next, but
Yeah.
really looking forward to closing out this chapter well with the fans, and yeah, this last season's gonna be crazy.
how did you even, how did Have and Have Nots come about? What was that audition process like for you?
Wow. Well, I've never loved auditioning.
Right.
Uh,
Does anybody?
I've never loved auditioning, and I teach actors and I tell them, you want to, have fun in your auditions and you want to just win the room. You don't have to win
Yes.
the job. All the right things we say, but I just have never enjoyed it. So, but that's what this audition, well, no, it wasn't so regular. Um, I had done a musical in Atlanta, one of my favorite theaters in Atlanta, the Alliance, and I
Mm,
had done Into the Woods, and I was fortunate enough to play the witch, and it had been a dream role for me. And the casting director for Tyler Perry Studios, Raven Drummer, was in the audience one night and invited me to come and audition for Meet the Browns. Meet the Browns was on at the time.
yes.
And so it was a one scene as a hospital administrator. And I was so excited. I was like, oh my goodness, I'm going to, get to meet Tyler Perry before I go back to New York. And I had done television, but small guest starring parts. So
Okay.
I was just excited to be in a new market and to finally meet Mr. Perry. So I went in, auditioned for Raven first, and well, that was the protocol to audition for Raven first, and I didn't get it. So I didn't get to go any further than Raven.
Mhm.
Never met anybody else, and I came back home, sort of disappointed,
Right.
very disappointed, but just I won't say depressed, but a little down about it because I was like, it was
Right.
one thing, what did I do wrong? But
Right.
got back home, and it was the most quiet year that I had ever had in my career.
Hmm.
The phone literally just stopped ringing. Like I wasn't getting auditions, I wasn't getting um, jobs or anything. So much so
Hmm.
that I had taken. And prior to that, I had been on the road with the Color Purple. So sometimes and I'd done the Color Purple on Broadway. So sometimes when you've been out of things for a long time, you have to sort of figure out how to get back in the
Yes.
swing of it. So that's what happened. And during that time, I ended up taking a job at my church as an arts minister, and I loved it so much. I had such a great time, in that I did it for four years,
Mhm.
and I had a blast. But after my second year doing that, I got a call. So it was like 18 months after the Meet the Browns audition. I got a call that they were doing has and have nots and was looking for Veronica, and they wanted me to put it on tape and send it to them. And I'm like, oh, they thought of me for the
Wow.
and when I read it, I was like, oh, because I played the witch into the witch because she was such a witch with a B. So
Yes.
so
Right.
so I was like, oh, okay. And I put it on tape, literally sent it in and went on about my life. And the next day they said, Tyler Perry wants to meet you. They're flying you to Atlanta. And I was like,
Dang.
what? So I flew to Atlanta. And the next day I got the offer.
Come
So,
again.
in the moral of the story, in a drought, what had
Yes.
been a drought for me, um,
Yes.
when that drought, well, moral of the story, in a drought, find a way to still be creative and make a difference. So so the job at the church was that for me.
Yes.
And then and it could change in a day. It could change in a phone call. So
Yes.
don't even worry about your drought because it could change in a moment.
A moment. This is what I love about. I hate it, but I also love it about the arts. Is because you literally could be sitting here going, "Woe is me! Why? And then the next, wait a minute, what?" Like everything switches in
In
a
a moment.
moment, and
Uh-huh.
you're over here. You're flying to wherever to go
Yeah.
do this. It's the beauty of the arts, but it's also the headache of it because you're just like, can you just tell me what's next? God,
I
tell me
know.
what's next.
I know. That's why it's so important to live your life in those spaces, because
Yes.
it can change in a moment and you're like, oh man, I wish I had spent more time with my kid, or I wish I had done. And
Yes.
it's like now you're gone. You've flown to Paris.
Yeah. Right. Right. But I also love that because that's happened to me before where you think one door closes, but it's just not that door yet. Same company, it's gonna just come back around. It's like guys like, no, this ain't the door, but it's yes, Tyler Perry, just later.
Later.
Just later. Don't worry. I'm still blessing. I'm still granting dreams, but it's just through another door and another window.
That one wasn't for you.
Yes. Yes. That's the amazing part.
So
Wow. So that's how you got haves and have nots. And have you been doing things during the quarantine, or is it just coming back now? You've been
we had the final season that's coming back now. We had it in the can. We had already filmed it. So
Wow.
we didn't have to go back during COVID. We were already done. When we filmed it, we didn't know that it was over.
Wow.
So we didn't get a chance to say goodbye, which is very
Wow.
sad for us. We're hoping
Yeah.
that we can connect to say goodbye before it's all over. So we didn't know that part. That part came about during the year that it was going to be our last season, but we didn't know it. Once you see it, you'll go, "How did you not know?" You'll be like, "How did y'all not know that was the end?" But we didn't.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. What is that like, that family? I mean, you must be that you have built a family on set in addition to welcoming your family on. How is that like to bring those two worlds of yours together?
Wow. That's been the best part. I'm convinced I would not have Robinson, my baby, if I had not done that show.
Wow.
And Tyler is extremely perceptive, and he's gifted in spiritually gifted. So he will write storylines and know nothing about the person, and then the person will say like, how did you know that about me?
Wow.
And so that's sort of what happened with me. Like I told you, it had been a 20-year situation for us, and it wasn't a 20-year wait. We were very much trying the whole time. But we had come to a place of being content with just us. And we have some amazing nieces and nephews that have our hearts. And so we were content being auntie and uncle to them. And so season 1 of Haves and Have Nots, it ended with me doing a monologue to my son, who had just come out to me, about how I had had so many miscarriages and how hard it was for me to have him.
Wow.
And I said some hateful things to him, but that was the basic gist of it. And it was so close to me, Angela, and that I couldn't even do it. I couldn't do the scene. Like I was like, I'm not gonna go there emotionally. I'm just gonna be as serious as I can. I'm not gonna go there emotionally because I don't want to pull up all that stuff. And so Tyler kept yelling in the room, "Veronica, go deeper. You can go deeper than that. Go deeper." And I was like, I'm not doing that. Like I don't know if I would come out of it. It's so personal, He kept yelling, "Go deeper, go deeper." And finally, he called me to talk to me, and he's like, "What's going on?" And I said, "Oh, this is just like this is really close to me. So I don't know
Yeah.
where you've been, what kind of spies you have in my house, but this is close to me. I'm not sure that I'm not I this is hard. This one is hard."
Wow.
And he said, have you dealt with it?
Ooh.
And I said, "Yeah, I mean, I'm cool with it, but I'm just saying, And he said, "You're not cool with it. If
Dang.
you were cool with it, this wouldn't be hard." And so he said, "You should deal with it. You should deal with it." So when that was over, and I did go deeper, and it was it was emotionally draining, and the things that actors live for,
Yeah.
being in that moment. When I came out of it, I went home and told my husband, I think I still want a baby.
Wow.
And he said, "I've been waiting for you to come to that because I didn't want to pressure you." So,
Wow.
yeah, so then we went about the process of figuring out what direction we were going to go, and we decided that adoption was for us, and here we are.
Wow. How old was Robbie when you adopted him?
2 months.
2 months.
Mhm.
Oh, the baby.
Yeah,
Baby face. I love
yeah,
it. I
yeah.
love it. What a story. Do you have any tips or just ways that you have overcome or found a way to get through that spot where, moms who are either in your place having miscarriages or wanting to adopt or not sure, and just the pain of that? What would be your encouragement, how you got through that process?
Well, we did it all. With regard to fertility treatments, we did it all.
Yeah.
Um, Honestly, if I had known adoption was so wonderful, I probably would have stopped all that other stuff.
Wow.
um, but I usually say to moms, and so I'll say this to you if you're watching and you're going through this,
Mm.
um, you will be a mom. You will. There's nothing that will stop you from being a mom.
Wow.
So um, continue to pray about it. Continue to try to be good to yourself and gentle with yourself in your weight. But know that you will be a mom. It doesn't matter how old you are, it doesn't matter
Yeah.
what you've been through. Just continue to believe and remain open to your options. Um, that's what I say to you. So happy Mother's Day coming up, Mama.
Right.
Um, and you know
Beautiful.
what? That also
Beautiful.
happened for me the year before we got our our sweet boy. Um, I was asked to speak on Mother's Day at my church,
Hmm.
and Mother's Day has always been not my favorite
Right.
day. But I was asked to speak, and I was like, "Why do they want me to speak? I don't understand." And my friend who wanted me to preach with her, she wanted me to do a sermon with her, and I was like, "Well, what do you want me to do?" And she said, "I want you to talk about unanswered prayer. What you
Yes.
do when God doesn't do the thing you want most, how
Most.
you handle that."
Ooh, what did you say?
Well, I
Ooh.
came home to my husband and I said, I don't think I want to air because, we didn't tell a whole lot of people,
Yeah.
what we were going through. And so I was like, I don't think I want to air that. Like, I don't know if I'm ready for those, "Oh my goodness, are you okay?" I'm not sure I was
Yeah.
ready for that. And
Yeah.
so uh my husband said, "No, I really think you should do it. I think it'll bless some people. I think you should do it." That was Mother's Day,
Yeah.
2017. Mother's Day 2018, I came home with Robbie. So that's
Woo.
not to say, it was because we did that,
Yeah.
but what I will say is sometimes sometimes if we tell our stories, and sort of release the pride. And I don't want to tell my business,
Right.
release that, but just say, maybe this story can bless somebody.
Yeah.
Maybe it can be an inspiration. And sometimes if we just release it and get it out,
Yeah.
um, there's some peace around that. And so yeah, so then we came home on Mother's Day. I was like, God, you're something else. That you would
Wow.
all these Mother's Days that was sort of agonizing for me. You redeemed the day um,
Wow.
by helping me to bring our son home on Mother's Day. So it's just been uh, these wonderful examples of how great God is and how He is faithful,
Yeah.
and the timing is always perfect. All these examples of all of that, Robbie is, when I look at him, I see all of that, and so yeah, it's something.
It's
It's something. I tell you, I it would be difficult because being a mom is not easy.
yeah.
Um it comes with its challenges, but uh because I grew up by myself, I always wanted like five. I always wanted a house full of kids, So, fortunately, I have my nieces and nephews who have kids, and so we'll see. But I think I definitely not done.
Ah, hey, you heard it here on MomVersations.
We'll see what thus saith
What
the
the
Lord.
Lord has in store.
Yeah.
Oh, this is it. I don't want to keep you all day. So I'm coming to the last of my questions.
Yes, ma'am.
How are you, Angela? What is the greatest lesson you're learning in this season of your life?
Mm. Whew. Wow, I'm learning so many lessons in this
Yeah.
season. Um, but I think I've said it, and I just repeat myself. Really, I'm learning to accept my brokenness.
Mm,
That I talk to people about fulfilling their dreams, and I pray with people who are having issues. My husband and I counsel married couples and all of that. But this season has really helped me to understand the depth of my brokenness,
mm,
and the depth of God's love for me through it. Um,
yes.
that that he, he's good with it. Like he gets the journey, and I just want to keep moving. I just want to keep knowing that that through my brokenness I can be a blessing.
Yeah.
And even though being a winner is wonderful, and I want to be a winner just like everybody else,
Yeah.
and I'm grateful for all the peaks that God has given me, all my blessings. I'm so
Yes.
grateful. But I think the thing that we have most in common as human beings is that we're all broken.
Yeah.
And so the fact um that I've been so in touch with that part, to me, has sort of put me more in touch with people.
Ooh, which is a
More
hard place.
connected. What'd you say?
Which is a hard place. Staying and
Yeah,
accepting
it
that.
really
But
is.
it is. Wow.
Yeah,
That's
but it's been
super.
great. It's been fulfilling because it just makes you know how just growth. You're just like,
Yeah.
oh my goodness, I have so much growth that I need to do. And I don't know, life was just so fast that I wasn't in touch with with all of those things. The peaks are great, and I love them,
Yes.
and I could stay on the peak forever, Jesus.
Right.
But
Ride it out.
but the pause really helped me to see some other things,
Yeah.
and so I'm happy to be growing and trying to be better.
I love it. I love it. All right, we down to our last two questions. If
Uh-oh.
you if you met Robbie, say in 20 years or so, what would you want him to know about your journey?
Oh, wow. My life's journey,
Yes. What would you want him to know just about you?
that I was a dream chaser.
Yes.
I want him to know that his mama was a dream chaser. So
Yes.
that anything that's placed in his heart to do, that he'll know, I don't have to sit on this. I don't need nobody's approval for this. Because my mama chased her dreams. So
Yes.
so hey, I'm coming, I'm gonna chase mine too.
I
Because
love
that
it.
that was it. That's why, when people say I put that on hold because of my kid. I put that on hold because I'm a mom.
Yeah.
I get it. I understand it. But the best gift we can give our kids is to live our dreams out loud in front of them so that they
Yeah.
can see that their dreams too are possible.
Oh, that's it. That's hitting the nerve. That's hitting the nerve. We're talking about the thing that I hear over and over again with each conversation is that of really the boldness and the audacity to just keep chasing your dream. And your
Yes.
child actually learning from that.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, that's beautiful. His mama was a dreamer.
His mama
Yes.
was a dreamer. His mama chased her dreams down. His
Mm,
mama chased her purpose and
yeah,
lived it and even faced her fears
yeah,
and kept going. So in hopes that, he will, nothing that's placed on him to do, he'll squash. He'll say, "Oh,
yeah,
okay, then I better go."
yes.
Mhm.
I love that. I want to leave. Usually, I have a conversation with moms. How do you end up? What does self care look like for you?
Well, I'm not that good at that.
That's why the sign. Uh,
I'm not I'm still working on it. I told you, didn't I just say I'm working on myself? um I yeah. I was better at it before the shutdown because I would leave. Like I would go for a night and stay somewhere and get some
Ooh,
rest um and
yes.
and do all that. But like no, I'm working on it. I think
Yeah.
self-care right now in this season is everybody is asleep and I have a glass of wine.
Hey, hey. Ain't
Glass
nothing
of
like a quiet
wine,
house.
glass
Right.
of wine. And sometimes, I put my earbuds in if when I'm cleaning or doing anything around the house. Um, Robbie's with my husband, and I'll just put my earbuds in and be in my own world, listening to an audiobook or
Yeah,
whatever music I want to hear. Those things to me are self-care.
yeah.
We Yeah, so yeah, I'm working on it. I'm gonna do more. I mean, I used to go to like spas and get my nails done. I haven't done all that stuff in over a year, but I tell
Mm,
you, they just weren't important to me to do.
hey,
I just realized I think I was doing it all because because I had appearances or I was doing work or jobs, and so I wasn't. I learned how to do my own mani pedis, and
hey. New
I
skills,
haven't.
ladies and gentlemen.
I need to listen. I need to go somewhere, but I don't want to go in nobody's steam room right now.
Right. I don't know if that'd be safe, right?
But I think we'll see. We'll
Yeah.
see.
Yeah. Hey, again, everybody's listening to this. They go, oh, now I could do that at home. Yes, do your own mani pedi at home. Yes, put on your ear pods and listen to an audiobook or listen to whatever music makes you move while you clean up the house or whatever. Those are very, very doable self-care things in your house. So,
Hmm.
hey,
Yeah. I
well,
love
and
I love doing stuff like that. I haven't gotten into a whole lot of, even though I want to, but I haven't, I haven't had a chance to. But people go, "What are you watching on Netflix?
right,
What are you?" I'm like, "Oh, child,
the the latest kids show. What?
go, Camilla."
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
so I think it'll come back, but I gotta grow a little bit in the area of self care. But I do love to just zone out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, Angela, we are coming to our final question. I always love to end our interviews with, and it comes from Michelle Obama's book, Becoming, if you got to read it or watch her documentary on Netflix. And I love, oh, you did the audiobook. I love how the documentary at least ended. They asked every person before they left, who are you becoming? So I brought that into my Momversations. Angela Robinson, who are you becoming?
Me. I'm becoming authentically me. I think sometimes as artists, the vision gets blurred. The lines saying, "Is this me, or is this me? The artist, the celebrity? Is this who?" And how do I really feel about this statement that I'm making? Am I just making it because I'm supposed to say this on social media, or how do I really feel about it?
Yeah.
And I'm becoming me. I'm trying to be the most authentic me that I can be. If it upsets someone, if it hits a nerve, it's all right. You be all right.
Yeah.
I gotta be as authentic as I can be. And I encourage other people too to be the most authentic as they can be.
Yes. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have heard the story here from Angela Robinson's mouth herself. We've heard her woes, her peaks, her valleys, her family, heard about so many different parts of who she is as a mom and actress and just as herself. And I just want to thank you for gracing my audience, my Momversations, with your presence.
Thank you, my sister. I'm so happy to meet you. I feel like I have a new friend. I can't wait to come to Cali and
Yes,
get
we're
me a
gonna hang
voice
out.
lesson.
Come on, we're gonna hang out.
I'm gonna get me a voice lesson. We can do a play date. We
Yeah,
can.
right. Let's do that for real.
Yes. I'm looking good. I love what you're doing. Keep doing it. You are just beautiful and a blessing to so many. So keep doing what you're doing, sister.
Thank you. Thank you
Yeah.
so much. And check out Angela's Art and Spirit Conversation Wednesdays at 3 Pacific Standard, but 6 Eastern, right?
Absolute.
Yeah.
No, 3 Eastern,
Oh, the
12
other way around.
Pacific, right. And we go live on Instagram, but also subscribe to my YouTube channel, Art and Spirit. The talk on Instagram is Artist Talk.
Yeah.
The YouTube channel is Art and Spirit. Subscribe. You can see all the interviews and stuff.
Yes, she's interviewed some amazing people, Felicia Rashad, and some great ladies and gentlemen on her show. And I just placed the link in the chat, so please subscribe to Angela's page, and you can see all the conversations that she's had and will be having coming forward.
And Aretha's coming on. Aretha's coming on my show, Mother's Day week, the week leading up to Mother's Day. I'm so excited. So
Yes.
we can finish this.
Yeah,
I'm gonna put her on. I'm gonna put her in the
me
hot
and
seat.
the Yes, I got a chance 2 weeks ago with my twin interviewing me, and I was like, "Oh, this is what that feels like to be in to be interviewed." Oh,
Yeah, you were great though.
thank you, thank
Yeah.
you, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Again, please give it up for Angela Robinson. Follow her YouTube page, and I'll see you next week for another interview. Thank you for tuning into Momversations. See you guys
Bye,
later.
everybody.